Nigeria has a huge youth community, numerically approximated around 60% of her estimated population of 180 million. You will expect such to come on strong for deliberate inclusion and decision-making, a tool to drive national development just as it was once upon a time to nationhood. Youth, that time of life between childhood and adulthood. The age range that defines youth varies from one society to another. The United Nations Asi Garbam is a Nigerian lawmaker whose political journey opens up all about women and leadership question.
I started late 20s, in my late 20s, and the first election that I did, I was about 30. So I was the youngest in 1999 when I came into the parliament. Today, I'm not happy that out of 57 senators, composition of all the northern senators, that I'm the only woman. In the entire 19th state, including Abuja, I'm the only female senator. And we were like trying to see how we can do at least one woman in each of the senatorial. It was kicked out vehemently by the men and said, look, women, power is not gotten cheaply. There's nothing like a representation. You go and wrestle it out and what I mean. There are a lot of odds against the woman. A lot.
Some critics are quick to ask about the pedigree of the new political agitators for these generational leadership changes being clamored for.
People may think, oh, what are young people doing? Do you think that automatically? No. For the past 4, 5, 6 years, young people in Nigeria have actually come together, whether we recognize it or not, and have created several movements that have become a very big movement, and we are dictating the tone as we go. What that means is that as we continue, in the next 15 years, we're taking this. So it's good that we don't see it as a one-day journey. It's also good that some people don't even realize that this is what we are doing.
And when you look at it broadly also, you see that it's a reflection of a democratic growth that we are seeing.
These Nigerian youths are already creating a new consciousness for a political shift in the nation's body politic. Some of them, scions of past political wigs and leaders.
While I acknowledge that my father was a very political person, I also have to point out the fact that he had a lot of children, and yet not all of us are into politics. So what I actually started out wanting to do was to amplify issues affecting young people with the hopes of getting the government to pay attention and take action on issues bedeviling young people in the country.
Well, I think to start with, I'm born into the house of politics. My mom is a politician, my dad is also a politician. These are people that I've learned a lot from them, and I believe politics has to do with something you do every day of your life and all that.
Some others simply for their own personalities built through hard work and societal support. Are they in a hurry to take over?
When I started in 1996, I wanted to contest for councillor. That was the zero-party election. I was a delegate that was elected to go and elect the councillor at that time, and so on.
Unlike many Nigerians who will decide to stand on the sidelines and complain about things not working right, on the 1st of October 2016, we decided to, stand firm and say we're going to change the narrative. We're going to stop standing on the sidelines and actually start making an impact around the political space, around the governance structure space. And that was when we decided we were going to run for the office of the president of this country.
Ahmed Buhari, 40 years of age, is a geologist by training. This younger Buhari is not in any way related to the current Nigerian president. This Buhari is from Niger State. How will his interests in vying for the office of the president of Nigeria play out at a time like this?
If we do not have a country that is prepared, determined to harness the existing data that we have so that every single Nigerian can be accounted for, so that every single Nigerian can say, because I am in Nigeria, I get healthcare subsidized. Because I am in Nigeria, I get my transportation system subsidized. Because I am in Nigeria, I can actually enter certain programs because I can present something to show for that. This is the only time we can actually see systems and see how they work. And many people keep asking me, Ahmed, why do you want to run for the office of the president? And I keep letting them understand one thing. I am too relevant for my generation to hear that I existed without making an impact.
This is a 36 karat gold. Now I'm giving this to you because I wish and I pray to God you will be my wife. Oh my God!
He is a favorite face from your darling Nigerian film industry, otherwise known as Nollywood. Hello, Desmond.
Is this another of such roles? Oh no, this is reality. It's something I've always wanted. I've always had the ambition. I think right from the MKO Abiola days, yeah, that should be 94. That was when my real interest in politics started, and then I've always worked towards it and believed, you know, in my interviews in the early years, I've always talked about, you know, my political ambition or something. So I just felt, you know, that when it was right, I needed to start. So before even coming in 2015, I started making the, as you would say, legwork from about 2007, 2008.
Point of order, please, Honorable Desmond Elliot.
You know, leadership is service, and which is, I think, one of the reasons why the younger generation is clamoring for, because they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So we are coming into a sphere or a generation where service is key. You know, you don't look more into an authoritarian kind of system of administration. It's going to be more of service to the people and all that.
Those people who also make the argument that young people are not ready, forget that in 1933 down to 1937, there were young people who were leaders of the Lagos Youth Movement that actually wrestled power and led the nationalist struggle. They also forgot that the people who pushed the military into the barracks were actually young people. They exercised leadership. And when we talk about leadership, it's not leadership as a position. We're looking at leadership as individuals who are taking responsibility, and it's a way of life.
These youth are not alone on this road for leadership, emancipation and lifting. Many have the backing of these women in politics and leadership.
Because that mentality of you can't go past this level, or this level is where you shouldn't be, or because you're going higher, they think you must have been doing some funny things that women are known to do. No, it shouldn't define a person. Your personality is different from what society thinks of you. Let me just go for what I believe should be done, and then I get it done. Not what people think you are or what society thinks you are. You just get comfortable with what you do and focus on your goal. I think that's what will jack us up from where we are now to where we're supposed to be.
They should remain focused, well prepared, and to know that it's not an easy task. It is something that they need to sacrifice themselves wholeheartedly and then sincerely with the purpose that they are going into politics to help the country, not to help themselves.
For me, politics is about service, being able to show compassion. Because if you don't show compassion, you can't be a good politician. You just go there and take what you think is good for you and move on.
I don't think the youth are in a hurry. Most of them that come and try to get into politics are above 30, above 35. Once you are 35, you are almost getting to not being a youth. So I don't think they are in a hurry. And we have examples of countries around the world where very, very young people are presidents today. So why can't it happen in Nigeria?
Hajia Fatma Abubakar Bala's father was a strong influence in her attaining leadership position. The family support, she says, can give the women wings to fly and succeed even in politics.
If a woman is contesting for a seat and you want to contest for this same seat, contest. God will only give one of you. So if that one of you gets it, it's simply because God wills it, not because of anything. Yes, there is issues of rigging, there is issues of giving money at the ballot point, but still, if God does not will it to happen, it will not happen.
At the local and community level, all the way to the highest levels of government, the women are often left without a voice and ignored in political process, often due to social cultural barriers.
At this level, women are very active. They're great mobilizers. Every candidate knows that if you have the support of women, you're as good as winning that election. But we've had a challenge with translating the level of activity at grassroots level to the level of participation at the highest levels of governance. So while we may have women active in our communities, the local government awards, we don't really have a lot of women in state and national assembly or in appointed positions or even as governors. In some southern states we have female deputy governors, but that's about it.
How can the women be empowered to take down these obstacles preventing them from political equity and equality?
Or how can you even say that you're a democratic nation when you look at political parties and their structures and all you do is you just appoint a woman as a women leader? We lose the opportunity of tapping and harnessing the great intellect and the contributions that women actually bring to the table. Women are very valuable to development conversations because they'll have what it takes. Same also for young people. And so it is important that we just redefine the way we actually think. And enough of this whole religious stereotyping and all these traditional practices and cultural beliefs that we have that young women should not have a place on the table because they are women.
How do they uplift the level of women in politics? By appointments, by allowing them to vie for positions, by giving them space in most of positions that they can be involved in decision making. And then apart from that, within ourselves, we help each other.
The Nigeria will have a larger picture that will showcase more of our women. You see, I always say this, that most of these women, most of us went to school with our male counterparts. Some of us were even better than them in class. But when it gets to that level, they start relegating the women.
Women need to be lovers of themselves. Women need to form a coalition, not for political interest at the long run, but to see among them, which we've spoken. I've said this thing over and over, even within some of the international donors. Right. Now, when you sit down to now talk about women participation in politics, what steps have you taken to look at one woman that can win election, but she is financially handicapped?
The unusual inflow of young persons into the 2019 elections can be attributed to the recurring national frustration over exclusion of youths in political leadership. The Not Too Young to Run campaign has furnished so many today a new form of expression in redirecting the conversations.
If you have a baby paddock coming, it's fine. Do you have a smartphone with you, everyone? You know how to take a selfie? Okay, please do that and put it on social media. #FixingNigeria.
There were assurances over the motion between the arms of government to support the bill.
What the guys are doing, like I said, I'm in support of it. I believed in that their spirit, if it is indeed, will be in unity. And if one of them could now say, okay, why don't we try one? House of Assembly or House of Rep?
Presidency?
The presidency is 45 years. If they can do that, because they have almost, we are talking about over 70 million or 80 million Nigerian youths out there. So they are a chunk of a number that you cannot despise.
The wait and optimism paid off.
The young people of Nigeria are now set to leave your mark on the political space, just as you have done over the decades in entrepreneurship, sports, art, media entertainment, technology, and several other fields. You are undoubtedly Nigeria's most important resource, not oil, not agriculture, not solid minerals, but you and all of us. Your energy, intelligence, and talent are what will drive and develop Nigeria long after we are all gone.
Now that the horizon is brightened, what will be the next line for conversations?
Well, we're going to run for office and many of us will win it. I will win. So that's what is next. It then means that those of us who win will be the foundation for 2023, where more young people will enter. Because we'll be the poster children for this. And of course we'll be successful. We'll know better than to mess our chances up.
Our fathers have failed us. They failed to groom the children. They failed us morally. Now, morals, norms, tradition, culture is gone. We have no history. We don't know what happened in the past, so we can understand what's happening today to understand the future. We make the Ministry of Orientation very strong. It's too huge a ministry that we need to begin to change the psyche of Nigerians. And the only way you can do it is by way of media. You need to start influencing social media talk.
We need a united country. We need a country where we can look beyond all of those things that have always divided us. And like I mentioned earlier, ethnicity, religion, social status, political party, ideological affiliations, and even gender. We'll have to pass all of that, but the body language of the leadership has to be right. Secondly, we want a country that is secure, because if we're not secure, we cannot do anything well. Thirdly, we want a country that is, the governance structure is truly decentralized. And when we say decentralized, we're talking about restructuring. We want to see how state governments can start taking care of their own resources, so that when they flutter, the people know exactly who to hold responsible. Fourthly, we want a country that the people can be made to understand that they can leverage on the comparative economic advantages.
Will the Nigerian youths and women of today and generation be able to replicate the youthful dexterity in leadership by what political historian will refer to as Nigeria's independence leaders?
What I want to tell the youth that are coming up, or that they want to take the leadership from the elite, or rather from the elders, I think they should learn to have interests of the country at heart.
Today's youth, I think some of them are too much in a hurry to get rich. Too much in a hurry to get rich. But I don't see it also as their fault. I see it as the fault of the system. Because there has been so much corruption in the system, to the extent that our people only give respect to the people that have money. And they don't care what is the source of the money. So for a young person who has come out of university, their first thought is, how can they make money? And that's why they go in, they fall into so many problems. But that is the system. Unless we are able to wipe out corruption in our society, we are just going to keep on destroying our youth.
As they meet, deliberate, and lobby on all fronts as expected, seeking the new political renewals, what new political sagacity will the modern Nigerian youth and women bring to bear on the political leadership of the nation from both structural and human capital developments?
okay, if you come out as women, how many percentage of your commissionership are you given to us? How many percentage of board members are you given to us? Anytime you do that, they will now know that, yes, you know your onions. But when they bring you rappers and you're tired and you sit down on the road and you start dancing, to me, I think is a degradement to women's status.
How and where will the new campaigners of the Not Too Young to Run gather the financial wherewithal to transform politically to Nigeria's new leaders?
We beg from fellow young people. We come on social media and I go, wow, please, my people are starving and we need money to take so things to them. And guess what? Young people will start bringing 1,000, 2,000, and sometimes in the space of 2 days, we've raised 1.7 million naira. And we buy these things and we take to IDPs. We've created a new way of doing these things that if the government does not show up, we show up. That is leadership. If who is supposed to do this work at this point does not do it, we do it. And sometimes we don't wait for whether or not the government does it. If the government is doing it well, we can always add and do more.
To be honest, I think we've done quite a lot, but we still have more to do. All right, we can do more than what we've done. And then women, I think for some reasons, for me, it's a personal thing. Mentorship is very critical. And have we gotten the right mentors in the past? I don't really think so, because women, we should hold ourselves up and then let us climb together. I think that's the way to go if you want women to be more involved. For me personally, I don't think we've had a lot of women who can say, this is a young person I'm trying to groom to take after me. Other than advocacy, leadership, I think mentorship is also one very, very critical point that can make us move forward in Nigeria.
What role will the social media play in this generational reordering of the nation's political space by women and youths?
Social media should not be the activity. If, for instance, I pay a courtesy visit to the chairman of the party and say, we want more young women involved in party processes, I can tweet about it on social media that I saw my chairman today and this is what I asked for. But if I simply go on Twitter and say, APC has to include more young women, who am I talking to? The decisions of the party are not made on Twitter. So these are all things that we need to keep in mind when we're making demands and trying to push for change for young people.
Many are the complexities to Nigeria's ready-to-lead question. What political footings will the women and the average youth be putting forward as they get involved to change the democratic equation in the country's leadership arena?
To reach the grassroots. Whoever you are, when you want to become anybody in politics, you need to go back home. You need to start from the grassroots. For we, as you see us where we have attained, we don't joke with where we come from.
And all that. We need to support each other because whether you like it or not, the leaders, the others are also supporting themselves. You know, when they have their goals, they have their statement, they know what they want. But once they know that they need to get things done, they come together, and that's what we don't get with the young ones.
They have to work together. We need to connect generations, and the intergenerational dialogue is something we need to encourage. We don't have that culture here and in Nigeria, and that's killing us. We don't think about tomorrow. We don't think about who are those who are going to be succeeding us and make sure we invest in them. Every young person and every woman is actually a product of society, and how we invest in our population will determine our development trajectory over the next 20, 40 or 50 years.
The timeliness to these opportunities today call for convergence of ideas and strategies to bring on a new national order to project Nigeria. That too will be comely when we all get involved.
important.
Hold on, please. Let me calm down.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hope you've logged off your meter.
Oh, Oga, we no longer tamper with our fuel dispense meter because it is cheating and corruption. I will always sell fuel to all customers at the correct amount because change begins with me.
Nice one.
Yes, sir. How much, Oga?
Fill up.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Along a flyway, seasonally, birds migrate often north and south between breeding and wintering grounds. Many species migrate, and these occur naturally on one hand, even though out of necessity compelled by other environmental factors on the other hand. This migration carries high cost in predation and mortality, including hunting by humans. Migration is driven primarily by availability of food. It occurs mainly in the northern hemisphere, where birds are funneled onto specific routes by natural barriers such as the Mediterranean and Caribbean seas. Migration dates back to about 3,000 years. Every year, on the 9th of May, the United Nations celebrate World's Migratory Birds Day to create awareness and promote safety of birds that migrate. During flight, some birds become incapacitated and are unable to continue the flight, which explains why sometimes we wake up to the sight of rare species of birds in our compounds. What are we supposed to do should this happen? Globally speaking, in other parts of the world, value is attached to this species of bird, even though that cannot be said about most African countries, Nigeria inclusive, where these birds are hunted down either for food or sold in the market to make money.
Yes. My name is Jane, and I'm 18, and this is where I hang out with my friends. We are deeply concerned about the problems facing Nigeria, but when it comes to doing something about it, we would rather sit on the fence.
Hold up. Dab, 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 dab. Yes. Dab, 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 dab. Yes.
Taxation, that depressing but constant reality on the minds of everyone.
On a particular spot might turn out to be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. For deadline.
It is obvious that's a negative relationship between taxes and business.
The government in bringing development to the grassroots. For Deadline 360, I'm Emmanuel Lene.
To generate electricity to nuclear energy, precautionary measures has to be taken. I am Muhammad Nasir.
A very good afternoon to you. It's good to have you join us today on Nationwide. I am Tessie Justin Bisong. President Muhammadu Buhari is reassuring Nigerians that he will not abdicate his responsibility of safeguarding the nation's assets and ensuring that they are utilized effectively and efficiently for public good. The president was speaking at a breaking of Ramadan fast with traditional rulers and religious leaders.
Dr. Kayode Fayemi recently resigned as Minister of the Federal Republic to fly the flag of the governing APC at the forthcoming governorship election in Ekiti State. President Muhammadu Buhari is hopeful that APC will win freely and fairly.
Voter education should be emphasized, and please go and emphasize this to our constituencies. Let Nigerians be respected, that they can vote anybody across any party at any constituency. I think that will give them the pride to voluntarily go and vote.
The president was emphatic that the vacuum created by the exit of Dr. Fayemi from the mines and steel development sector of the economy may not be easy to fill.
As I sit here, I watch every minister that wanted to talk. His constructive contributions reveal not only intellect, but his commitment to the progress of this government and the country.
Members of the council took turns to eulogize the former minister, describing him as not only forthright, but worthy of reliance and trust.
I must confess that working with Fayemi has been a learning experience. He's a true goal-getter, brilliant and hardworking. The sector will miss him.
And I also knew he is the best that can happen to his state because of what he did before.
We do need, from an economic perspective, more governors that will align with what the federal government is doing so that we can start to really see the impact of the transformation of the economy at grassroots level. And I believe that he's going back to Ekiti. He'll become a model governor.
You cannot talk about my success in the Governors Forum without calling Governor Kayode. He knows the battle. He knows that there's a battle, and he's a man of battle, and I'm sure he will deliver that.
He's a team player. He's very kind-hearted. As you go, we'll go with you in prayers. Some of us will go physically to campaign for you.
I believe that he needs our continuous support because the game is just starting. I want to wish him success in the campaign and subsequently becoming the next governor of Ekiti State.
In an emotion-laden voice, Dr. Kayode Fayemi was full of gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for what he called the extraordinary privilege accorded him to contribute to the transformation of Nigeria's mining sector for economic development.
There's enough evidence that this sector has witnessed growth and development. Thank you, Mr. President, for not objecting to my return into Ekiti on this rescue mission to bring Ekiti back to its pride of place, to the path of peace, and to the path of development, not just in the interest of Ekiti people, but in the overall interest of our country.
From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Well, that has been the special valedictory session in honor of the former Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. And moving on, the 61st UNWTO CAC meeting hosted by Nigeria has been described as one of the best in the history of the continental body. Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, Zurab Pololish Kavili, stated this at a joint media briefing with host Minister Lai Mohammed. Anthony Forsen reports.
Zurab Pololish-Kavili said the United Nations World Tourism Organization will by this outing leverage on the successes of the meeting to promote Nigeria in becoming a top tourist destination in the world.
We had very interesting discussion with ministers, and we made very concrete decisions how to continue and how to work with the African continent, which has full support and from our organization. And we are very glad that we are going on the right way.
showering encomium on the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, for putting Nigeria on the global tourism map. He thanked the minister for pushing Nigeria as a new tourist destination.
We need patience, we need investments, we need partners, we need to be united. And we all agreed yesterday that we have permanent meetings, and I'm sure that in long-term run we will have concrete results.
He particularly commended the administration's visa on arrival policy under President Muhammadu Buhari, saying he has made Nigeria one of the most accessible countries in the world and urged other countries to emulate Nigeria. He added that the organization has an ambitious plan which the Nigerian outing has provided a platform for. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said he feels fulfilled as delegates to the meeting were treated to the best Nigeria can showcase.
I must say that we are quite satisfied with the way the meeting has gone so far. This includes the impressive attendance, the quality of contributions, spectacular nature of the social events, and in particular, the passion and commitment of the Secretary General, who has attended all the key events.
Lai Mohammed expressed gratitude to the United Nations World Tourism Organization Secretary General and his team for their support and guidance during the 3-day event. Over 500 delegates, including 26 ministers and 166 foreign delegates from 34 countries, are attending the meeting. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has assured farming communities across the country of government commitment towards addressing environmental challenges affecting agricultural activities in their domain. President Buhari's message was delivered by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Obe, as he inaugurates flood and erosion control work in Gombe State. Musa Baba Aliu tells us more.
Kaltungo and Billiri local government areas of Gombe State are among the major farming communities in the state. They plant mostly grains that have been contributing largely to the national food production. But desert encroachment and erosion remain threats to farmers, not only in Gombe, but the entire northeast.
When we first complained to the federal government, some engineers were sent down to study and then give their report.
It is as a result of this request by the Meikatulgo Saleh Mohammed that President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 approved the construction of drainage towards addressing the environmental challenges. The projects are being executed under the Ecological Fund.
We are behind them. We will fight to remove Boko Haram finally, bring peace to them, industrialize this environment, right, through agriculture and agro-processing, until every family here enjoys a better livelihood. That's the dream of this government.
And we thank Mr. President Buhari, and we shall always be telling our people of the great work which the federal government is doing for our people, so that they will know. Our people need to be enlightened about the huge jobs and how to focus, how to make our country self-sufficient. And we are also very grateful for the efforts he's doing to rid us of the Boko Haram problem that we are suffering in this northeast.
Adu Ogbe also promised that the federal government will support the communities with heavy-duty farming equipment. From Kumo local government area of Gombe State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And to environmental matters, the existence of many communities living along coastlines in Bayelsa State is being threatened by coastal erosion. Efforts at shoreline protection initiated in 2012 by the federal government through Niger Delta Development Commission has not yielded much, as the project has been abandoned. Ebinimi Zitmiola reports.
Bayelsa, by its geographical location, has a number of communities along rivers and coastlines. With increasing environmental challenges such as climate change, oil spills, desertification, and ocean surge with resultant coastal erosion. Community lands, economic trees, schools, and church buildings have been washed away. Worst affected are Paramabri, Fangwe, Ayama, Abobri, Oboguru, Tuambras, Sangana, Odi, Kayama, and Opokuma communities.
Assist us to protect lives and property, lands, buildings, and what have you.
Contracts were awarded and budgetary provisions approved for shoreline protection of some affected communities, but the projects were not completed. Indigenes of affected communities and environmental activists are calling for a more effective collaboration between the state, federal government, and other interventionist agencies like the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, and Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs to urgently address the situation through effective use of the ecological fund.
This is quite a bogus problem that if the state government intends to solve it, it's very capital intensive. It's quite capital intensive. Hence, we are calling on the federal government to partner with the state government.
Interventionist agencies should live up to their responsibility. Communities should also live up to their responsibility.
From Yanagwa, Ebinimi Zitimiola, NTA News.
A new website aimed to further enhance communication between the federal government and the people of the Niger Delta region has been unveiled by the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. As explained, the commitment of the federal government to ensuring all its planned projects are well executed is on course. Hence, the need for the people to be well informed about the vision and for cooperation. Edebo Iyam, the Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta in the Office of the Vice President, and Arukainu Umukoko, Special Assistant on Communication Project, comment on the Niger Delta new vision and the website.
Is a program of this government, and it's designed to develop the environment, the region that is, the Niger Delta region, and it is a forthright partnership between the federal government, the state government, the private sector, and the community. It is a program designed to ensure that the programs of this government, of this administration, actually gets to the community, and as opposed to what obtained in the past, whereby a lot of government programs were hijacked by a few.
Is just part of the communication strategy of the Nigerian Delta New Vision team of the Office of the Vice President, which intends to communicate effectively to the Niger Delta region and to the people of the country what the federal government is doing in terms of developing the Niger Delta through the new vision. And you know what the new vision is all about? It's designed as a partnership between state government, federal government, local government, private sector, and the local communities, which is to see how all of this partnership can help to develop the region.
And away from Niger Delta affairs, the Senate has confirmed the nomination of Festus Okoye, Monday Udo Tom, Garba Atahiru Madami, and Ahmed Mahmoud as resident electoral commissioners. The report of the screening by Senate Committee on INEC had rejected the nominations of Ahmed Mahmoud from Zamfara State, citing a petition from his state as reason for the rejection. But the Senate in the Committee of the Whole rejected the committee's recommendation on Ahmed Mahmoud and confirmed him. The House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Justice to investigate alleged attempt of the legislative by Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, Dr. Amina Shamaki. This followed a motion by Representative Benny La, who alleged that the Permanent Secretary worked into a public hearing being conducted by House Committee on Science and Technology and issued queries to officials of the ministry directing them to leave the sitting. The House has in the meantime passed at second reading a bill for an act to amend the National Health Insurance Scheme Act to make it mandatory for every Nigerian to join the scheme. Details on this and more in our subsequent bulletins. Discussing 3 years of legislation by the 8th National Assembly, guests on Good Morning Nigeria identified the need for the leadership of the National Assembly to forge ahead in its efforts to deliver dividends of democracy to Nigerians. Garba Mohammed Natala reports.
Legislative functions of the 8th National Assembly, as highlighted by Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi and Honorable Abdul Razak Namdas, noted that in spite of controversies, these have not affected the prompt passage of bills and motions presented by the two chambers.
If these laws are to serve Nigerian citizens, then Nigerian citizens must actively participate. And I think for the first time, like my colleague said, even in terms of the budgeting, we have brought in the civil society, the Nigerian populace themselves, through the public hearing we have now introduced for the budget.
In the last 3 years, we have introduced over 1,500 bills, out of which about 284 of these bills have been referred to committees, and 222 of these bills have been successfully passed.
However, the other guest spoke on delays in passing the national budget and roles played by the National Assembly on anti-corruption, security, institutional reforms, and addressing recession.
There's always an answer to the challenges that we face. So bringing ridicule to the institution is first and foremost a challenge that the National Assembly has to deal with. And if they deal with that, public confidence in the institution will continue to rise. The more importantly also is the issue of budgeting.
So we're looking at their performance, we're looking at their behavior, we're looking at their patriotism. What is the attitude towards understanding the problems of this country? To push those problems to the president.
The guests charged the National Assembly to do more, pointing out that expectations are high and ensure decorum in its leadership, as well as remain focused in deepening democracy in the country. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari is reassuring Nigerians that he will not abdicate his responsibility of safeguarding the nation's assets and ensuring that they are utilized effectively and efficiently for public good. The president was speaking at the breaking of Ramadan fast with traditional rulers and religious leaders across the country on Tuesday. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari was emphatic that if Nigeria had explored and exploited its abundant resource potentials, national development aspirations would have been met long before now. His administration, he therefore promised, will continue to do its very best towards genuinely addressing public concerns and placing the country on the path of sustainable growth and development.
This country has been endowed by God with material and human resources. We are going to work very hard to exploit these gifts from Almighty God. Please, when you go back, tell your constituencies that we are very mindful of the position they find themselves. We are holding this trust, and that knowingly we will not abuse the trust, we will not allow anybody to abuse it.
The Oni of Ife, who spoke on behalf of traditional rulers, assured the president that in them he has dependable allies in national salvation.
We, the traditional rulers in this country, we will continue to support all your beautiful initiatives, things that will take this country forward, things that will be of common benefit to the common man on the street, things that will take Nigeria to another level, things that we can see that it's in the interest of Nigeria. We will continue to pray for you, and anytime you call on us, have it at the back of your mind that we're there for you.
A similar assurance was given by Ambassador Shehu Galadanchi on behalf of religious leaders.
On behalf of all the ulama, we have to thank you for what you have been doing in this country. You are able to bring a lot of of changes in this country, because you love this country, you want this country to prosper, and it is only when you have the opportunity to continue to finish what you are doing that inshallah this country will be a better country for everybody.
Prayers were offered for the nation and its leaders. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Time now to join our Lagos Network Center, where Dotun is standing by for more reports. Hello, Dotun. How's Lagos today?
Lagos is good. Thank you, Tessie. I'm glad to have you join us in Lagos. The Nigerian Navy says critical national infrastructure should be protected by credible members of local security outfits who understand the principle of interagency collaboration. The commander, NNS Beecroft, Commodore Okon Eyo, made the remarks when he attempted to retrieve containers of petroleum products confiscated by a local security group operating on behalf of the NNPC at Atlas Cove in Ilashe Aganda, Lagos State. Michael Olaleye reports.
This is Atlas Cove, a strategic petroleum terminal offshore Ilashe Agada that is a major network for uninterrupted distribution of petroleum products across the country. Several illegal bunkering operations have been perpetrated at this post. Hundreds of jerrycans and other working tools used in perforating pipelines on site are visible, supporting this claim. This operation by the Nigerian Navy was to retrieve fuel siphoned in jerrycans seized by a local security outfit attached to Atlas Cove. The operation was suspended because of the deafening resistance by the outfit.
The navies always want to be in control, and they cannot control us. The contract was given to us anonymously.
The commander, NNS Beecroft, flustered by this development, called for the restructuring of the security arrangement at Atlas Cove for better synergy.
We will engage with NNPC to tell us whether their contract involves them carrying weapons.
Mr. Okon Eyo said the NNS Beecroft commander is no longer comfortable with the operations of the locally contacted security outfits.
If you look at the place that we met them, you saw all those things there. They were not appearing like things that were brought there newly. They were like, a base. And so it couldn't have been some other oil thieves or vandals that brought those things there.
The Navy also reiterated its commitment to strengthening the fight against illegal bunkering of petroleum products. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, has stressed the need for sustainable funding for the education sector through creative mobilization of resources. This, he says, is necessary if education, which is crucial to national development, is to be positioned for effective human resource development. The minister stated this while inaugurating federal government's intervention project at a Unity School in Lagos. Jane Ojuku reports.
This 450 feet deep industrial borehole, one of the two newly constructed, a water treatment plant and a sewage recycling system are among projects undertaken as part of intervention by federal government at Queen's College, Lagos, to address the water contamination problem that ravaged the school last year. It may be recalled that 3 students died from the water epidemic, while hundreds of others were hospitalized. The federal government had promptly responded, resulting in the construction of relevant projects to address the challenge and forestall recurrence. Minister of Education Adamu represented says there is need for improved funding for the sector.
Major issues came out very clearly from this visit. Yes. First, the need for maintenance. Yes. And 2, the need for us to sustain funding for the education sector. Yes. I'm very pleased that Mr. President has approved and we'll have a special summit on funding education.
The staff and students of the school are most excited for the development.
Federal government, by way of intervention and emergency, addressing the problems, give us an appropriation that helped the college. And now we have a very beautiful toilet under SDG. And we also have a hostel, a very beautiful hostel. It's going to end up being 2-story building.
our source of bathing and washing water has also been treated. We have a new water treatment plant. Then the hygiene in the dining hall has been increased.
She also helps us in maintenance of these facilities.
With the new infrastructural development in the school, there is no doubt that the students will find it more conducive for learning. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
The United Nations Information Center, Lagos, has warned that unless the world stops indiscriminate disposal of used plastics, the number of plastics in the ocean globally will be far and above aquatic animals by 2050. The global body also disclosed that at least 8 million tons of used plastics are thrown into the ocean annually by users. Elizabeth Ewuga completes the story.
Plastic, which is rampantly polluting water bodies, harming marine life and posing threat to human health, has been one of the major concerns of environmental bodies. Though a large part of the population depends on plastic for their daily use, experts say nearly 1/3 of plastic waste not disposed of properly end up clogging drains and choking the environment. Speaking at Murtala Muhammed Airport, Lagos, at the World Environment Day 2018 celebration organized by the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, in conjunction with the Nigerian Environmental Society, the Secretary General of United Nations represented at the event lamented that people indiscriminately disposed used plastics, which constitute challenge on humans and hazards to aquatic animals.
Yeah, there are some few policies about curbing plastic, but there is I don't see a strong legal framework that will back it up. The countries which have succeeded are succeeding in controlling the use of plastics have strong laws backing it. Nigeria needs to do that.
In his presentation on the topic, Beat Plastic Pollution in Aviation Sector, Professor Babajide Alo of University of Lagos stated that globally, 300 billion pounds of plastics are produced yearly around the world. He, however, noted that 10% of this number ends in ocean.
Every plastic is recyclable. So what we need is that for those plastics to be returned to a recycling plant so that they can serve as feed material for the next generation of plastics.
Whenever it rains, just get out of your house, look at any gutter or culvert close by. When you see what is passing through there, then you realize how dangerous these things are to us.
This year, World Environment Day specifically points global attention to the challenges of plastic pollution from all facets of human environment. In Lagos, Elizabeth Ewuga, NTA News.
And those are top stories from Lagos at this hour. It's back to Tessie in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Dotun, and welcome back to Abuja. 3 years of change on the review. That will be after the break. Do stay with us.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Now, you can hold that dream occasion without stress. Horizon Caterers will provide answers to all your catering questions. Exquisite hall designs, mouth-watering and nourishing local and continental cuisine, suitable for all types of ceremonies, including weddings, AGMs, business luncheon, cocktails. Name it, we can bring it. Our chefs and executive waiters give your guests that unforgettable experience in service. Our service covers all states of the Federation. Call us today to book your occasions. 0805-502-9637, 0803-450-9726, 0909-9708-111. Horizon Caterers. Experience catering beyond the horizon.
The choice of who you marry in life must come from your friends.
You don't reach time where we suppose arrange wife give birth.
No, it must come from your mother.
She's your wife.
Can that thing called love blossom from an arrangement?
It's a different ballgame from a partnership in a conjugal relationship.
Can brides and grooms be truly happy with a stranger forced on them by parents or relatives?
I don't even know him. How can I marry him? I paid your bride price, and your father collected a piece of land from me.
Your rib-cracking comedy tries to answer these questions and serve them with a lot of rib-cracking comedy to you.
Is marriage by force?
Join us this week on Professor John Bull in the episode titled Arranged Marriages.
Thanks for the gift you bought me.
I should be the one thanking you for sending me a gift.
But I never sent you a gift.
I want a piece.
Oh no.
Yes. They were holding peace.
Over.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Iconic Nigeria, in partnership with the Nigerian Television Authority NTA and Push CV, invites you to this year's world-class mentoring session for unemployed and underemployed graduates, a program called The Graduate. Date 20th June 2018. Time 8 a.m. Venue The Avenue Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. The workshop, which comes with a theme, a dialogue on economic diversification and entrepreneurship to transform Nigeria's economy, will feature Dr. Andrew S. Nevin, global leader, Project Blue, and Oleseun Onigbinde, co-founder and lead partner, Budget, as well as Steen Hatzberg and Victor Banjo as existing keynote speakers, amongst others. Register now at iconicnigeria.com before 11th June 2018.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving ahead, Nigeria, like other countries, has made tremendous progress in addressing inequality in the world of work. Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige, who led Nigeria's delegation to the ongoing International Labour Conference, ILO, in Geneva, Switzerland, said this while addressing the Parliament on efforts Nigeria is making to promote a decent work agenda. Labour correspondent Emmanuel Ayimere, who is covering the conference, now reports.
Every member nation presents its scorecard on the chosen topic at the conference. Nigeria's response to the initiative for equal opportunity for women in the world of work reflects on the major areas the nation is working to address gender inequality as it affects women and youth. Labour Minister Chris Ngige told the Parliament that the government has ratified, domesticated, and is implementing Maternity Protection Convention number 186, which protects the rights of nursing mothers. He also spoke on other empowerment initiatives.
Government has also initiated a school-to-work program called Empower, designed to empower young men and women with skills to facilitate their entry into the labor market. Our government recorded successes in the following areas. The principle of equal pay for equal work for all, without discrimination on account of sex, is enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A presidential initiative on the Northeast, PINE, is in place to promote girl child education and with social packages for women in the region for their economic empowerment.
Other delegates say more can be done to assist women on decent jobs.
In our state and in our country, the issue of gender equality payment in our constitution is enshrined. But I think what is left is for us to create equal opportunity, and that is what is left, because the male has dominated in all sectors.
We are encouraging more females to come to the fold of driving in Nigeria.
With the rate at which Nigeria is supporting women to attain their full potentials alongside the men, especially in the world of work, no sooner than later, the goal by the International Labour Organization for women to be part of the exclusive growth and development could be achieved in Nigeria. From the ILO conference in Geneva, Switzerland, Emmanuel Ayimere, NTA News.
Ebonyi State government has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Bank of Industry for agro-based funding to civil servants in the state with a view to improving socio-economic development. 340 civil servants are the first set of beneficiaries. They are to assist in boosting small and medium-scale enterprises in Ebonyi State.
Concerned about a number of our youths, young men and women that are moving up and down in terms of working in Lagos. We're also bothered about the plight of our brothers and sisters that are in Onitsha and Anambra State who are doing Okada and thereby exposing their lives to a lot of dangers. And so we've been able to lift 400 of them out of such dangers by buying brand new Keke Napep, 400 of them.
The former memorandum of understanding execution ceremony for the 4 billion naira agro-based matching fund for civil servants of Ebonyi State. This is the first time this is happening in this country.
Akim Dairo, who monitored the signing of the MOU, reports that the agreement is on a single-digit interest rate payable in 5 years. Gains of democracy, especially in the last 3 years, can be consolidated through due checks and balances, patriotism and sincerity of purpose in building a better Nigeria. Talatu Ezerike reports that this was the standpoint of discussants on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live.
Nigeria's democracy, many observed, has continued to grow with recorded gains, especially in the last 3 years. Analysts say the achievements include infrastructural development, social investment program, and steady economic growth that has taken Nigeria out of worst recession, as well as the fight against insurgency and corruption. The success they attribute to the enabling environment provided by the people's-oriented government that speaks volumes, with commendations from bodies like the World Bank.
We also need to work towards building what I call shared national vision. Because it is when we have a shared national vision, that is when whoever is there will not matter. We must restore values in a system.
If anybody thinks that this government is after opposition, someday, one day we will not be in power. Let them go after us. So that someday, one day, this vicious cycle will stop.
Why can't we try another aspect of fighting corruption? Preventive.
For others, the need to promote right ideals and build strong institutions is key.
To not ethnicize corruption. In Nigeria, they see it as betrayal if you are not supporting a man from your own area. Yes. They say you are betraying. And that is the kind of mentality we must change.
I believe that we have some control in terms of participation of the people in the affairs of the nation. As far as I'm concerned, those are our progressive moves.
It is quite obvious that Nigerians are in for a better deal with dividends of democracy if they pursue the path for progress. Talatu Ezerike, NTA News.
Edo State hosts Ease of Doing Business Forum. Let's join Obehi in Benin for these and other reports. Over to you, Obehi.
Thank you, Tessie. Welcome to Benin. Edo State economic growth reform entails encouraging local investors and entrepreneurs through the creation of an enabling environment, which will in turn entice foreign investors to the state. Governor Godwin Obaseki was speaking at the maiden edition of the South-South Stakeholders Forum on ease of doing business reforms, expected impact on small and medium enterprises. The reform is organized by Edo State Government in collaboration with Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Obaseki said Edo State is sending a signal to the world that it is ready for business.
That will only achieve our desired growth by not only investing in our people and infrastructure, but also by diversifying the dynamics and content of private
The National Secretary of PEBEC, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, said President Muhammadu Buhari's administration acknowledges the fact that SMEs are the engine of the country's economy.
Economic history and current realities cannot be told without acknowledging the significant contribution of this region to our economic prosperity.
Some participants say the forum is a step in the right direction.
The essence of the ease of doing business in Nigeria is to actually see the bottlenecks and try to remove the bottlenecks.
SMEs are very important in every that international standard.
The event had in attendance the Inspector General of Police, top government functionaries, and investors from Delta, Edo, Bayelsa, and Ondo states. Governor Godwin Obaseki has commended federal government's gesture in the provision of welfare for the inmates of the IDP camp in the state. The governor was speaking when the National Logistics Committee on Distribution of Relief Materials to IDPs paid him a courtesy visit at the government house. Goodluck Enaine reports.
Godwin Obaseki, while describing the gesture as laudable, urged the committee to include returnees who are victims of human trafficking in their programs. He called on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to ensure that materials donated are properly stored.
We want to ensure that we put in place mechanisms to check the governance of the camps themselves to make sure that these items are actually utilized.
Earlier, the leader of the committee, Assistant Comptroller General of Customs, Azerema Abdulkadir, said the gesture was in line with the federal government's directive and listed the items donated to the camp to include bags of rice, cartons of tomato paste, gallons of vegetable oil, second-hand clothing and shoes. The donation marks the 5th round of distribution of relief materials to the IDPs in the state. In Benin, I am Goodluck Enaine, NTA News.
Children in Ekiti State are asking for a peaceful and secured environment for them to realize their potentials in order to grow into useful adults and contribute to national development. This was their submission at the 2018 NTA Ado-Ekiti Children's Summit. Tayo Osho reports.
Schools from primary schools across the state converged to speak on the topic peace and security, tools for national development, while those in the secondary category spoke on good governance, what hope for the Nigerian child. Speakers took turn to explain their points on the need for good governance, peace and security in the country.
Cured from danger, fear, anxiety and violence. As you said that the government should create jobs for our youth, let the families teach their children moral values. The most vulnerable in every human society are the women and children.
The general manager NTA Ado-Ekiti, Mr. Olusegun Folarin, said the program is to give children a sense of belonging, which is part of the social responsibility of the organization.
They are our future. We need to groom them, and we really need to make their life better.
Guests at the event commended the organizers for awakening the consciousness of children to take their academic, physical and emotional development seriously to be worthy future leaders. In Ado-Ekiti, Tayo Osho, NTA News.
That's it from Benin. Let's join Tessie in Abuja for the rest of Nationwide News.
Thank you, Obehi. Time to go on another break. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
NTA Television College JOS admission forms for diploma program in film and television production, television engineering technology, broadcast journalism, and degree programs in mass communication, television journalism, and mass communication television production is now on sale. The sale of forms will commence 14th May and run to 13th August 2018 at the cost of 7,500 Naira only per form, payable through the remitter platform in favor of NTA Television College JOS. Forms can be obtained from all marketing offices in NTA State Capital Stations, zonal centers, Training Directorate of the NTA Headquarters Abuja, and the Office of the Academic Academic Secretary of the NTA Television College, applicants are required to possess 5 credits in GCE, SSCE in relevant areas of study, including English and mathematics, in not more than 2 sittings. All completed forms attached with photocopies of credentials must be submitted on or before the 13th of August 2018 to the stations where the forms were obtained. For further inquiries, please contact the Office of the Academic Secretary on these numbers. Announcer, Registrar.
NTA International, in collaboration with Obafemi Awolowo University International School and the African Center of Excellence in Software Engineering, present to you Digitest, an annual ICT-based creative camp and competition with a focus on digital marketing, renewable energy, sport, tourism, and entertainment for young techies ages 8 to 18. Digitest 2018 theme, Selling Without Borders. Date, August 5th to 17th, 2018 at Obafemi Awolowo University International School. Proudly supported by Obafemi Awolowo University, Bode Akindele Youth Initiative, Nigeria Computer Society, the Ooni of Ife, His Imperial Majesty Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi. Media partners, traditional partners can register now at www.digitalpress.org. Visit our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Call now on 080-7782-3308. This is a lifetime opportunity. Don't miss it.
Health squarely is a responsibility of both federal, state, and local government. And what we've done is to really sell this idea to the state government.
Whatever we eat can help our organs to work well, can also harass our organs to fail.
We need those hot teas that are brewed with spices.
As a blood donor, I see one of the things that is something that you give hope to another person that is in need.
Hello and welcome to Health Options.
NTA News Extra. Every Wednesday at 9 p.m. News Extra. Because you want more.
Welcome back. You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. And moving ahead, tuberculosis, though a curable disease, still poses a great public health concern to Nigeria, which is currently ranking 7th in the world burden for diseases. There is, however, a new effort to reverse the situation by mobilizing future leaders in the fight against tuberculosis. Momso Damian Dati tells us more.
Tuberculosis is an airborne bacterial infectious disease which affects the lungs and other parts of the body, and currently the world's most infectious deadly killer disease ahead of HIV, claiming 1.7 million lives annually. With Nigeria ranking 7th in the world and 2nd in Africa among the 30 countries with the highest burden of TB, there is a renewed effort to tackle the issue head-on. That explains the convention of this symposium, jointly held between the top TB Partnerships Nigeria and the Bingham University, to raise leaders that will be proactive in the fight against the disease.
Nigeria, including women and children, account for about 237,000 of these deaths.
We are committed to work together with academia and all stakeholders in ensuring that this is achieved.
The fact that Nigeria's case detection rate is 20%, which is one of the lowest in the world. The country has 80% infected cases roaming the community.
As parliamentarians, we look at policy issues, we look at possible ways of intervening on policy measures that can end tuberculosis.
Bingham University, through its Zankli Research Center, is advancing knowledge and generating evidence in driving policy decision-making on the issue.
Anybody who has cough, okay, instead of just giving such person drug medicine or whatever, cough medicine, we train them to collect sputum samples from these people and they send them to our lab. And you know what? we get so many patients with TB from these people.
The federal government, in collaboration with international organizations, have been able to provide the diagnostics, that is, the gene expert that we said can be used to diagnose TB just 2 hours, and then treatment, and this treatment is totally free.
The center offers free TB tests for the whole North Central Zone with state-of-the-art facilities. Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
The Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association says it will continue to place premium on human capacity development within and outside the armed forces. National President of DEPOA, Omobalanle Olonishakin, said this at the graduation of students of its skill acquisition program in Abuja. Olajide Bello brings us details.
As the Nigerian Armed Forces, saddled with the responsibility of defending the country's territorial integrity, are actively discharging their constitutional roles, DEPOA is also taking up the challenge of keeping the home front. This is through its skill acquisition programs to empower widows and families of both serving officers and men, as well as that of fallen heroes.
You have had the opportunity to secure your future and in the process create jobs and livelihood for others too. Hence, I urge you to be bold and courageous and put to use what you have learned. As it is our custom since the inception of this empowerment program, widows amongst you will be given trade starter packs and also money for you to rent a shop.
The graduates of the Batch 5 DEPOA Skills Acquisition Program, who spoke with one voice, commended the initiative. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Sequel to the presidential directive that food items and other perishable goods seized by the Nigeria Customs Service be distributed to internally displaced persons nationwide, the body responsible for the execution of the national assignment, National Logistics Committee, has distributed 10,653 50 kg bags of rice and other items to 3,000 internally displaced persons at the International Christian Center, Uhogwa, Benin City. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
These are internally displaced persons from Goza local government in Borno State. They have been in this center since 2014. Grace James, 20, and Philmon Usman, 21, are among the 3,000 internally displaced persons that came to the camp dejected. The presidential directive is obviously the respite they have long waited for. They say this has impacted immensely on their lives, and for many of them, it has created an opportunity to nurse greater dreams, such as higher education.
The change has really benefited me. I want to become a medical doctor.
It has been many changes in area of education, in area of standard of living.
It was quite the celebration when the team from Customs arrived at the camp. Chairman National Logistics Committee Abdulkadir Azarema, who is an assistant comptroller of Customs, described the exercise, which began last year, as quite impactful.
It's an indication that the federal government is aware that IDPs are living in Benin City as the International Christian Center, and is doing everything possible to provide for means of sustenance.
Other items distributed to the internally displaced persons include tomato pastes, vegetable oil, drinks, toiletries, clothes, and shoes. The team from Customs is making its next stop at internally displaced persons camps in the northeast. From Benin, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
The Nigerian Television Authority has added another feather to its cap in line with its co-builder initiative of the change agenda of the Buhari administration. Olajide Bello reports that the award by Nigeria's continuity programs of Buhari Oshibajo 2019 is also in consonance with the maturity displayed by NTA in its quality and standard of reportage. Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, lauded the group for recognizing NTA's contribution to uniting the nation and promoting the federal government's people-oriented projects and programs towards bringing the government closer to the people, especially in the last 3 years of the country's 19 years of uninterrupted democracy. As Super Eagles lose against Czech Republic in Austria.